Hello there! My name is Tanner, and I'd like to welcome you back to my YouTube channel. So something I mentioned in my last video is that I love fantasy and mythology, and I'm kind of a self-proclaimed expert on those subjects. I also know some mythical races, if you will, and some mythical creatures that most people these days would find obscure. This subject will actually be the topic of today's video. I will be counting down my top 10 obscure mythical creatures from all across the world. Now I need to clarify a couple of things. One, when I say the word myth, I mean it in its original definition, which is a story or a legend, and not the second, more contemporary interpretation, which is something false or made up. Now the second thing I want to clarify is this list will be in no particular order. So without further ado, because I think we can agree that we've already had enough ado, here's my top 10 list of obscure mythological creatures. Number 10, the Grootslang. Now the Grootslang is an African creature which is technically classified as a cryptid, which puts it among the ranks as Bigfoot or Loch Ness Monster. Now, the story of the Grootslang is when the African gods were creating the world, the first ever Grootslangs were among the first creations. However, the gods considered them abominations and destroyed most of them by separating them into their equal counterparts, creating the first ever elephants and the first ever serpents. Legend has it, however, that some Grootslangs escaped being destroyed, and their descendants now walk the earth today. Now, descriptions of the Grootslangs vary wildly. Some say they're just giant serpents, some say they're giant serpents with elephant heads, some say they look mostly like elephants but with some snake features. You get the idea. Either way, part elephant, part snake, all terrifying. Number 9, the Kappa. Hailing from Japan, the Kappa are trickster yokai, which are typically described as green humanoids with webbed limbs and turtle shells on their backs. They are also described as having a sara, or an indentation on their heads, which usually holds water. Now this sara is usually described as being the Kappa's source of power, and if the water inside it is spilled, then the Kappa is severely weakened or even killed. Now, Kappa are known to be tricksters, as mentioned before, and their tricks can be anywhere from as harmless as looking up traditional kimonos, which can be awkward, or as malevolent as eating human flesh. Yikes. However, sometimes Kappas are believed to befriend other yokai and even people. Folktales also say that cucumbers are a Kappa's favorite food, so if you want to drive one away, just toss them a cucumber. Number 8, the Aspidoshalone. The Aspidoshalone, from the Greek meaning Vipernecked Tortoise, is a creature that's described as an unusually large sea turtle or tortoise. So large is the Aspidoshalone, in fact, they are described as having fully functioning islands on their shells. Some sources say that sailors would see one and think it was just a regular island, and when they landed on it, they would tie the ship, plant stakes, etc. However, if they tried to light a fire on this island, the creature would feel the heat and immediately submerge, taking the ship and her crew down with it. Number 7, Sommore. Found in the legends of ancient Persia, now modern-day Iran, Sommore is a chimerical creature with the body of a peacock, the head of a dog, and the claws of a lion. Sommore is also described as being the color of copper, inherently benevolent, unambiguously female, had a natural enmity of snakes, and was so large she could carry an elephant to her nest. Her most famous appearance, however, is in the story of the great Persian hero Zal. Now Zal was a prince, the son of King Sam, but was born albino and therefore was considered demon spawn. Sam carried Zal to the mountaintop where Sommore had her nest and left him there to die exposed to the elements, as one did in those days. However, benevolent as she was, Sommore took pity on the child and raised him as if he was her own child. Zal learned much wisdom from Sommore, and when it was time for him to leave the nest, she gave him 3 of her feathers and told him, "If you ever need me, merely set these feathers ablaze and I will aid you." Zal would eventually need those feathers when his wife Rudaba was near death from being in labor with their child. When she was summoned, Sommore taught Zal how to perform a cesarean, thus saving both Rudaba and their son, who would become one of the greatest Persian heroes, Rostam. Number 6. The Squonk. Now, the Squonk is actually a cryptid from my neck of the woods, both figuratively and literally speaking. Inhabiting the hemlock forests of northern Pennsylvania, the Squonk is said to be an extremely ugly creature, with ill-fitting skin covered in warts and other blemishes. Squonks are said to be ashamed of how ugly they are, and spend most of their time hiding in shame and weeping. Hunters who have attempted to catch squonks find they're capable of evading capture by dissolving into a puddle of tears and bubbles. In fact, a man named J.P. Wentley supposedly coaxed one into a bag, and as he was carrying it home, he felt the bag lighten, and when he looked inside, all he saw was the squonk's liquid remains. Number 5. The Tassel Worm. The Tassel Worm is a cryptid that originates in the European Alps, specifically the Alps of Austria, Bavaria, France, Germany, Italy, and Switzerland. The Tassel Worm is described as being either a lizard-like creature or a hybrid of a cat and a snake, with a cat head, a serpentine body, and either 4 legs or just 2 front legs. They're sometimes also said to be venomous and or attack with poisonous breath, and also as making a high-pitched or a hissing noise. There's also a pet Tassel Worm right here in my room. Isn't that right, Jack? Number 4. The Tarasque. And yes, the Tarasque is a real mythical creature. Although, believe me, it is nothing like the version of it in the D&D Monster Manual. Originally from Provence in southern France, the Tarasque is described as a chimerical dragon-like creature with a lion-like head, an ox-like body covered in a turtle-like shell, 6 bear-like legs, and a scorpion tail. Yikes. According to the legend, it terrorized the region of Aleut, and the king attacked Tarasque with knights and catapults to no avail. But then Saint Martha tamed the creature with hymns and prayers, and then led the creature back into the city. The townsfolk were understandably terrified by this, and they completely destroyed the creature, who ended up not putting up any resistance. Saint Martha scolded the townsfolk and ministered to them, and after most of the townsfolk converted to Christianity, they changed the town's name to Tarascon in honor of the beast that they wrongfully slew. Numero 3. The Axe-Handle Hound. Another folkloric creature from North America, tales of the Axe-Handle Hound originate from the states of Michigan and Wisconsin. Axe-handle hounds are usually described as some strange combination of dog and axe, with a body shaped like the handle of the axe, hence the name, supported by 4 short, stumpy legs, and a head shaped like the blade of the axe. Described as being nocturnal, an axe-handle hound's diet consists entirely of the handles of axes left unattended, and it travels from camp to camp searching for its next meal. However, one really weird weakness that I found in my research is that, for some reason, an axe-handle hound cannot digest axe handles made of oak wood. Real weird. Number 2. The Bake Kujira. The Bake Kujira is another yokai from Japan and is usually described as a ghostly whale skeleton, sometimes accompanied by ghostly birds and fish. There are a couple stories associated with the Bake Kujira, one of them being a fisherman tried to harpoon one, but the harpoon just sailed right through, and the creature completely disappeared after that. Other tales say that the creature curses anyone who spots it with misfortune. So yes, this is weird, but at the same time, I'm really surprised we haven't had a Pokemon based off of the Bake Kujira yet. I mean, really. A water and ghost type Pokemon based on the Bake Kujira. It practically writes itself. Come on, Game Freak. Number 1. the Aleut. In Inuit folklore, the Aleut, also known as Kakwanugat Kingulunik, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, is a creature, sometimes described as a spirit, that takes the form of a wolf on land and an orca in the water. Also, it's described as sometimes being just a flesh and blood creature that happens to be a hybrid of the two, which is personally my favorite take. And again, I'm kind of surprised that this has not become a Pokemon yet. A water and ice type based on an Aleut. Come on. And there we have it. Those were my top 10 obscure mythological creatures, in no particular order. If you like this video and you want to learn more, please give this video a like and subscribe so you don't miss any new videos. Also, if there are any other obscure mythological creatures that didn't make it in this video, leave your thoughts in the comments section down below, and I might just make a part 2. Alright, well, that's all the time I have for today, so I will see you all in the next video.